I'd say the most important thing that I believe that the Alpha program has to offer, in addition to the academic things that we do, it's the social emotional things that we have here. That I've had students that come and say after being in the classroom after a week, they finally have friends. They finally have somebody that gets them, that now they have met their peers that are so much like they always felt like they were different and unique, and now they feel like they belong to a group that people are more like them and have interests that are similar to theirs. It just amazes me at how kind and caring and nurturing they are to me and to their classmates. And this year especially, I've just had some students, they've gone out of their way to make sure that a classmate that's upset about something or looks like they're upset about something, that they're there and they're willing to lend a hand to check on them and make sure that they're all right. I want them to say, number one thing would be that, I really remember how much she cared about me. I'd love for somebody to say that, I remember we did Felix every day and he brought a new word. I'd love to hear that, I'm still collecting my vocabulary words, and for them to share with me just their passion for new words and writing and reading, and I'd like for them to say that they miss having fun and that they remember how much fun we had each and every day.
Well, as a teacher, I think it's very important that you can think on the fly and think on your feet, especially in a kindergarten classroom. Things, might come up that you're not expecting, and I just think it's important to be flexible and be ready to, change a lesson if it's not going according to plan. So about 75% of them are coming in without preschool experience, so we're really having to hit the ground running. And I think the main thing I do is just differentiating instruction for students, because I do have students who have been to preschool, so they're ready to begin at a higher level than my students who haven't. And just really personalizing their learning and making it fit for each child. And it's really neat to be able to see where they come in at the beginning of kindergarten and the huge amount of growth that they make by the end of the year. It's one of my favorite things about teaching kindergarten. What makes me passionate about teaching are my students. They're the reason I get up every day and do what I do. I think it's really important that no matter their background or their demographics and socioeconomic status, and that I'm giving them engaging instruction every day and structure, and building social emotional skills as well in the classroom. I would want them to say that I was a very caring and compassionate teacher, and that I cared about how they did at school, and I cared about them as individuals. I want them to say that they had fun in my classroom and they learned a lot. And I also hope that they would say that my instruction was engaging and they learned a lot in the year that they spent with me.
I've always loved children. In my family, I am the oldest child, so I remember as a child helping my brother and my sister and my cousins learn new things, work on homework, and then when I was in high school, I had the opportunity to go into a second grade classroom as part of my Honor Society hours. And I think that really helped confirm my love of children and my passion for helping others. So it was just kind of natural that I become a teacher. I think first and foremost, I try to build the relationships and the bonds with those students. Without that, I don't feel that teaching is going to be very successful. And I think once I've got that down, I can hit the ground running with the educational part. Just the learning that they have made, the progress that they've made this year. I had almost half of my students were special ed, so just to see the gains that they've made socially, emotionally, academically. the things that they say, sometimes they pick up on things that we say, and then they have their little personalities. They try to mock us and say things that we say. But I think they're a great group of kids, and every day is a new joy. They always bring something to the table. I would hope my students would remember our relationships and our bonds that we build. I take every day with all the hats that teachers have to wear, and I try to make a safe and nurturing environment for all of them. I hope that they know that I care about them and want them to be successful in all that life has to offer.
What amazes me about my students is their resilience, okay? They can be feeling at their lowest, and then something will happen, and they're like, oh, I got it! When they have that aha moment, it makes me feel great. And just seeing the interactions amongst each other. They interact so well, and they encourage each other, and I love to see that. I love to see when they encourage each other, and they don't let the other friend give up. I love to see their perseverance. One day, we were outside at recess, and I had a little boy who typically didn't mingle well with others. He had a couple of social issues, and his social cues were a little bit off. And he would always wander around the playground, and he never had anyone to play with. And I would encourage him to go to others, but he had a difficult time approaching other children. And one particular day, the kids were out playing football, and one little boy said, hey, why don't you come and play football with us? And the smile on his face, he just brightened up. He was just like, me? You want me to play? And all of the kids joined in, and it was a big football game, and they gave hugs and high fives, and it was just amazing to see how kids can encourage other kids and just make them feel good about themselves. 15 years from now, I would love for my kids to say that I was someone who inspired them, who challenged them, who always believed in them, who encouraged them, never gave up on them, and who helped them to see that there is beauty in others, that no two people are alike, and that we just have to learn to appreciate each other, and we have to learn to live with each other and get along with others.
Blended learning this year has been a huge success for me. I've really stepped out of my comfort zone and tried to incorporate different ways of learning. And just like you said, I have a lot of kids that get bored easily. So with having, like in my centers, having the Chromebooks with Schoology, and having them work on the iPads doing Poplets, and then still having them do research, but not with just one site, different sites, or maybe using books. Just incorporating and having the consistency within the classroom is key as well, because they kind of know what we're going to be doing, and so, but they don't never know exactly what we're going to be doing, because I try to change it up as often as I can. So I think that keeps them on their toes, because if you change just a little bit, you can tell their whole demeanor they start to fall off the wagon there. So definitely changing things up, doing things in different ways instead of the same thing all the time. You're here to teach them the educational, yes, but like I said, the relationships that you need to build with a student in order for them to grow as a person and to be able to grow academically as well is huge. Some of these students don't have those relationships outside of school, so sometimes you're constant, and they look forward to coming and seeing you every day. And just to see your smiling face in the morning, to know that their morning's going to start off great and it's a new beginning, and showing them the love, because you really do, you have a love for students. If you're meant to be teaching, you have a love for your students, and they will kind of grow to be your kids. As I say, they're all my kids at school. I have one at home, but these are my kids, and I love them, you know, while we're here at school and not. But you know, the love and the passion that they see in you, and that you're dedicated to them, makes all the difference, I believe. In 15 years, I would like them to say that I helped them form the person that they are today. By being that good person, helping others, just having those really good character traits that hopefully I portrayed to them and they saw in me, so I could be a good role model for them.
So teaching actually wasn't my first choice for careers. I actually wanted to be an architect, and I did an internship at an architecture firm, hated it. And my senior year, I was able to do senior option through the high school, where I could volunteer in an elementary classroom, and I was partnered with an amazing third grade teacher, which happens to be the grade that I teach. And seeing her interactions with the kids and being able to interact with them myself, I absolutely fell in love with it and decided to go from undecided to elementary education. Seeing her and how genuinely happy and enthusiastic the kids were to come to class to learn, and the fact that she inspired them to go beyond the classroom learning environment, to take things from home, to be able to bring them into classroom and share with the rest of their friends and inspire each other, that's kind of what made me want to do this. So I kind of take the approach of providing the leveled instruction, but also having my students teach each other too. They're going to learn and master concepts that they teach each other far better than if I sit and lecture them. So a lot of hands-on materials. I try to incorporate technology as much as I can, whether it being using Schoology or using Spark, which I did recently, or using the smartboard for them to get into groups and that kind of thing. I try to use those things to make it engaging and fun, and so that they're not, and I know a lot of our students have attention issues recently, try to keep it fast moving enough for them to where they still see learning as fun. I don't want them at third grade to burn out and say, I want to give up on school. I want to try to make every single day an enjoyable day.
I am the crazy Chrisman, as some of the girls on the run will call me. I have always wanted to be a teacher. I think I was born knowing I wanted to be a teacher. When I was 3, my mom can recall that I would stand at the window and bang my sippy cup against the window saying, I want to go to school too. I just always wanted to go to school. And so throughout my life, I've had phenomenal teachers, and it really is the fact that none of them told me, oh, you should go into teaching. I knew I wanted to be a teacher. They just reaffirmed that I should be a teacher, I guess. The thing that amazes me the most about my students is their perseverance. So in my room, the word persevere is up. At the beginning of the year, we talk about that word and how we're never going to give up. We're going to keep on trying. And dealing with the struggling students, they're already a little bit behind their other peers. So they just, every day, they have to keep on trying. And success that day might be the fact that we solved one more math problem correct, and the next day it's 2. But the way they just continue to come to school, eager to learn, ready to go, that's awesome. Probably what tugs at my heartstrings the most is just like me. When I was a little kid, being excited to come to school are those kids that get off the bus or out of their car and they're like running up to the front door, Mrs. Chrisman, I can't wait to do math today. They're just so excited to learn and eager to learn, and the excitement on their face is just amazing, and I really hope it stays with them. In the future, I don't know if I really know what I want them to say. It's more about what I want them to do. To me, actions speak louder than words, so I just hope that they are continuing to show their full potential in their life, and they remember the fun times that we had in math class together, but mostly I just want them to continue to be the best that they can be.
Project Search is a program for students ages 18 through 21 with moderate to severe disabilities. The program is a high school transition program where the students transition in one academic year from high school students to employees, and they do this through 3 10-week internship rotations at Bay Health, as well as classroom instruction and on-the-job skills training. Part of what makes me different is, I'm not afraid to try new things with the students and let them be themselves. Really that's it. Not being afraid of the student knowing more than me. I think that's probably one of the things that makes me a lot different. I am more than happy to take a seat in my own classroom and learn from a student, because that means that I've done my job. My passion comes as the year goes on, and I see their growth from changing their mindsets from being a high school student to becoming an employee and embracing those characteristics that are important, like compassion, accountability, respect, integrity, and teamwork. And then when seeing them get the job, it's just so amazing. And all that hard work that went into it, not only at this level, but all the levels before that made that person ready to secure competitive employment, is what keeps me motivated and passionate about advocating for people with disabilities. One particular student stands out. He had this passion to want to educate small children and work in a daycare. So we were able to get the internship for the daycare. We were able to find an online program for certification that actually had accommodations built into it. So he was able to complete 20 weeks of internship experience at Bay Health Child Care Center. And then he also completed the online certification course. He would stay afterwards and we would work together so that I could provide accommodations for reading of the tests. And then he secured employment at the little school, where he remains employed, coming up on a 2-year anniversary. And it should also be noted that he is actually licensed by the state of Delaware's Department of Education for an early childhood intern. So it's really, really exciting.
I chose to become a teacher because I wanted to be a positive role model in children's lives. I had a pretty good education career going up from kindergarten to high school, but I was really unsure of myself, and at times I struggled, and I never asked for help because I didn't feel comfortable doing so. So when I struggled, and I just pushed through it. But I wanted to be able to have a positive connection with children and students so that if they needed help, they felt comfortable coming to a teacher, whether it was about academics or something going on at home. No matter what it was, I wanted to be able to build a positive relationship with students. I think that being a positive role model helps all of my students, especially my challenging students. Being able to be there for them when they're having a bad day really helps them get through whatever's going on, whether it's here at school or something at home. We had this phenomenal lesson the other day with Leader and Me and choosing your own weather. So no matter if it's cloudy or raining or snowing outside, you choose your own weather. So if something's going on, come to me, talk to me, we'll work through it, but we're gonna make it better and we're gonna have a better day. I really enjoy the success that I've made with working through our ILC program. So currently I have both diploma track and non-diploma track students. Some are on grade level, some are far below grade level. But my biggest thing for them is I want them to be successful. I want my students to just know that I cared. I know academics is important, but to me, the biggest thing is them knowing that I'm happy, that I love them, and that each and every day I come to work because of them. I am so impressed with how much they've grown and how we've built such a great family inside our classroom that if that's the most important thing about me and that's what they remember in 15 years, then I feel great.
First thing is I try to relate to the kids. I try to take whatever is out there in the world, use it to their advantage. First thing I always do is I get to know them. I do like a little get to know you activity that kind of just tells random stuff about them, how many brothers and sisters they had, what favorite subject they like, what would they rather be doing if they wasn't here, kind of idea, and what sports that they play, stuff like that, or what is that they're into. So then I kind of apply that into whatever it is that we're teaching. The purpose of teaching and everything that they're learning is not for them to retain all of this forever. We would love for it as a teacher, you know what I mean, that you just hold on to everything that we say, but that's not really what it's to do. It's to use that one muscle, that one thing that you have in life that is unlimited, and that is your mind. The mind is the only thing that's unlimited, how fast you can run, how tall you're going to be, how far you can jump, all those kind of things, but the one thing you can always keep adding more and more knowledge to yourself. And by doing things in the classroom, it's just trying to train you to think and use that muscle to try to get over that hump that you're having a struggle in, or just to be able to do a different skill of something. Because then once you get older, the idea we're building them to go towards some career in order to be successful in their life and maintaining and caring for themselves as they get older. So if I get a child that's struggling, I try to figure out how can I incorporate whatever it is that they have some interest in order to get them to relate, and incorporate that with the mathematics portion, and then hopefully that it brings some kind of light to give them somewhat of an understanding, because you always get that same term of, when will I ever use this? When will I ever do that? Well, I mean, you may not, but here is a concept to help you understand on what's going on, and if you do get to use it, then this is how it can be beneficial to you.
I just enjoy helping the youth. It's quite rewarding to see the steps they go through, the whole learning process, and just being able to give onto others. I like to go by the motto of pay it forward. So, you know, I like to see that I'm helping somebody, and hopefully they'll help somebody in their future. So that's basically my passion, just being able to help others. I run into a lot of kids nowadays that says, I'm not good at this, or I'm not good at that, or, you know, but once you figure out a way to explain it in a way they will understand, then they'll be like, oh, okay, you know, they just have so much self-doubt, and it carries on because they don't try most of the time. So once you have them trying, or have them doing it different ways, or explain it so that they understand, these kids are actually so very smart. They just don't believe in themselves, and you know, that's part of my job as well, to bring out their confidence. So that's it. They're just, you know, amazing me how smart they are and how much they doubt their abilities. I don't tend to sugarcoat anything that I say. You know, I tell them the truth. It may not be, you know, super blunt or the way they're used to hearing it, but I let them see the reality of situations they're in. So hopefully 10 years down the road, they'd be like, Ms. Diamond, she was a real one. She told me the truth, and you know, it helped keep me motivated.
When I first got out of high school, I joined the military after some difficulties during my high school career. When I had initially gone to the Army to try to enlist, they wouldn't take me because I had dropped out in my junior year, I guess, of high school. I finished my actual diploma in an alternative setting school, not unlike what we have at Kent County Secondary ILC. Finally got the diploma, went back, joined the Air Force this time because they would take me with a diploma, where they wouldn't with the GED. And I spent 8 years doing that. Enjoyed it. It was a good time. When it was time for me to separate, I felt like I wanted to do something that gave back to the community a little bit, you know, and try to help some kids that were in a similar situation. You know, the biggest thing for me is, given my background and sort of the path that I took to get where I am, I have some empathy when the kids come in and have other things happening at home. So even with, you know, having a two-parent household, and even with having, you know, food on the table at night and things like that, I still had a difficult time, you know, in the public education sector. So when I now look at the kids and what they come to me with, and the hurdles that they have to get through, and the things that, you know, they carry with them every day, I think it's doubly important that we really recognize, you know, those additional challenges, and try to provide them with everything they need. I want them to know that I care, you know. We're going to learn a lot of math, and we're going to learn a lot of, you know, language skills and that sort of thing. And none of that's really going to matter to a lot of these kids. If I see them 5 years from now and, you know, AC more and they hug me, then that's